Hey everyone, it's Dexum, and here's your Madcap boss guide for Next Up Hero. Madcap is a pretty interesting boss. A lot of people think that he's really hard, but he's really kind of easy once you know what he's doing. And I'm going to walk you through the Madcap mechanics in this video. Before we get started, I'd like to tell you that this is the early access Madcap video, but I've been assured by the developers that Madcap isn't going to change that much, but there will be some changes that I'm going to outline for you real quick. And actually the changes to Madcap are going to make him easier, not harder, especially for ranged players. The first change that they're going to be making to Madcap is that they're going to increase the size of the area that you fight him in, which is going to be a lot easier for ranged characters because right now it's such a closed-in area that you really can't avoid getting hit. Also, they said that they're going to make Madcap's turning slower, which will make it a lot easier for melee players and also a little bit easier for ranged players to get behind him and do some damage. Now that we covered how Madcap is changing, let's talk about how you can beat Madcap pretty quickly and easily. For starters, with Madcap, you have 3 turret types. You have the Ballista type, the Flamethrower type, and the Totem type. The biggest mistake I see players make is they always attack the Totem type, which is the turret with Madcap's face on it. A lot of times, they'll be attacking his face and wonder why they're not doing damage. The trick to Madcap is knowing which turrets to hit and when. And there's a really easy tell to find out which turret to hit. It's all about symmetry. And what I mean by that is that Madcap has 5 turrets. At any given time, you'll have 2 of the same turrets out. Your focus is to attack the turret that does not have a double. The single turret, the one that does not look like the other 4. This can sometimes be a daunting task, but the more you practice, the easier it gets. There are a few different strategies to use. For melee characters, it's really easy just to dash in behind the turret that you're going to hit and just strafe around it. But my recommendation is to keep your back against the wall because melee characters can destroy projectiles and just sit there and go back and forth with your back to the wall, hitting the projectiles and the enemy at the same time. Ranged characters at this point are a little tricky, and like I said, they're making changes that'll make it easier in the future, but there are essentially 2 schools of thought on this one. If you find yourself to be a dodging savant, I would say take the center stage. You can focus on the one turret that you need to while going back and forth between the projectiles. The other is to stay against the back walls, using your dodge to get through the fire turrets and trying to outmaneuver the ballista and totem projectiles. My personal style is to stay in the center while trying to dodge and take out the turrets. I have tried some unorthodox approaches, which includes wall bouncing with Rook, which worked to some success. But for now, Madcap is tougher for ranged characters than melee. That being said, don't beat yourself up if you die on Madcap a few times, but I've also seen several players get stuck on a Madcap level because they just didn't understand how to beat him. So at least in this situation, now you know how to fight him, now you'll be able to get past him, and even if it takes you a couple tries, you'll only get better the more you do it. And there we go. That is the Madcap guide for Next Up Hero. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments. Subscribe and swing back by for some other guides. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in game.